Hi, this is James Tripp. This is a video on intuitive illusions. Intuitive illusions. Now, I'm slightly amused as I'm recording this because I haven't recorded a video for quite a while, and I've been to some fantastic places. I've spent a lot of time in California, spent some time in Hawaii, been over in New York and up into Canada, and in all that time, the last few months, I don't think I've shot a single video, and here I am, a couple of days back into my home in North Hertfordshire, just north of London, and I'm shooting a video again. I've got this blank wall behind me instead of potentially a beautiful exotic location. But I have had an interesting question come up in the email here, which I think is worth answering and addressing. The question runs thus. Hi James, an interesting question popped into my mind whilst listening to the Freestyle Mindshifters Toolkit Q&A. On the one hand, people leak out their trances, their moods, their states of mind, etc., through their physiology. On the other hand, our experience is mind-made. So if I pick up on someone's mood and I evaluate it in some way, is it my imagination or is it his real mood? How does that work? How do I settle this? Okay, this is an interesting question. It's worth addressing. And it often seems to be a sticking point for people. And it's because I think it's because there's a tendency to go too far in certain directions with certain types of thinking. I'll explain what I mean by this. There's something I've long called the first transformative truth, and it is the idea that we do not live in the world as it is. We live in the world as it occurs to us, as we are making it up to be moment by moment. Okay, so in any given moment, if you think about this in terms of trances, in any given moment, we are in a particular trance, a particular reality tunnel. We are experiencing the world through a particular set of narrow parameters, and that isn't how it is. It's simply how we're making it up to be in that moment. So we interact and connect with the world through a sort of illusion, through an ongoing shifting state of trances, if you like. Now, this is a really useful thing to come to understand, because a lot of the time people take their trances really damn seriously, and if you mistake the trance you're in for reality, it will have you and it will grip you, and everything else that you are beyond that trance will be excluded. Every other choice that trance cannot see will be excluded. So trances are very limiting things. They're empowering things as well, because we need trances. If you want to go into a performance state for a sport or something, you will drop into a particular sport-specific performance trance, which contains everything that you know about that sport and excludes, as it needs to, everything that's irrelevant. You don't want to drop out of that trance and have access to the totality of who you are in that moment, because that's not going to help you in that specific sports performance state. However, if you get caught up in a trance whereby you think somebody is I don't know, somebody is judging you or whatever, and you become very upset about it or something like that, that's not really a performance trance. It's not really a high performance trance. It's an undermining trance, a toxic trance. At that point, it's useful to be able to drop out of that trance, to fall out of that trance. And this is where understanding the nature of it helps. Being able to see it for what it is, a trance. To be able to shift your focus from the object of the trance to what your trance is about, to the fact that it is a trance and you are the creator of that trance. This is a mind shift which enables a kind of dehypnosis to happen, a stepping back, a falling out of trance. Now, what a lot of people do when they discover this, it becomes a very powerful thing, because they start to learn to fall out of problem trances. Those trances don't have them quite in the same way. They get to make space, they get to connect to what I call their generative faculty, the deep intelligence within them, that can then look at generating new responses for that kind of situation, new ways of being, new ways of engaging. So it's such a useful thing to be able to do. But we live through our trances for a reason, because many of our trances are highly adapted. They are useful. The idea is not to live life outside of trances. We couldn't. We would be dysfunctional. It would undermine us an awful lot. But the question comes about, if I'm picking up anything from the world, it's not just somebody else's state, how much information is in there that I can rely on? Well, most of the time it's pretty good. I'm looking over here at a sofa sat opposite me, and I think that I could probably get up and sit down on that sofa just fine. Wouldn't be a problem. Now, the sofa isn't as it appears to me, okay? But how it appears to me is a sufficiently useful representation. It is a sufficiently useful mind-made trance representation of what's out there, all those atoms, molecules that organize themselves into what I call a sofa, that it's a pretty safe bet that my sofa trance right now is a safe one. I can get up, I can go and sit in it. Okay, I could be wrong. I could sit in it and it's not there and I land on the floor, but I don't think that's likely. And it's exactly the same when we pick stuff up from other people. We pick stuff up from other people, for sure. How we make it up to be is how we make it up to be. I might pick up something from another person and I might go, oh God, they're angry with me, that's terrible. Now, I might be picking up something about their state, but what I'm turning it into, they're angry about me, may not, they're angry with me, may not be, one, accurate, or two, useful. Even if they were angry, quote unquote, what you call angry with you, it might not be useful to render it up that way. The question is it useful? Is the information you're picking up being shaped into a useful illusion, a useful trance? Okay. So this is the thing. It's not the case that it is either imagination or it is fact. You're all the facts in the world. There are no facts that you do not interpret some way through your imaginative faculty. It just doesn't happen. Just doesn't happen. There are practices like in general semantics, which I think are really good, which have you step out of as much evaluation and trance making as possible and get closest to the simplest rendering of what is coming in through your senses. It's a very valuable practice to do, but you never get to touch reality as it is. You never get to experience reality as it is. It is always mediated through your own trances. So the question is, how solid are the trances? How valid are they? And this is something that is worth asking in life. Most of the time, I'm very, very happy in my life to run with trances that I feel are serving me. If I start thinking, well, that trance actually isn't serving me, people have all sorts of trances that don't serve them, addiction trances, whatever. That's the time to question a trance. If I'm overreacting to a state that I think I'm reading in another person and being had by that trance and it's undermining me, I'm probably not making it up in a useful way. I may be picking up some valid information that their state is shifted, but how I'm making it up for myself is not useful. If, on the other hand, I can be a bit backed off and go, okay, I've got a sense that there's something here, something off about this person's state, whatever, they seem different from usual. I'm picking something up. If I can stay hung back, I can be in a different kind of trance, a more evaluatory, objective trance, and I can go, okay, yeah, I think I'm going to observe a little longer, or I'm going to ask some questions to clarify. If I'm out and about and I get the sense that someone's going to attack me, I used to train in Russian Sistema, and I always remember Vladimir Vasiliev saying, if you get a sense to get down on the ground, just get down on the ground. Don't question it. Just get down on the ground, because you're better off getting down on the ground and finding that there was no danger than not getting down on the ground and getting shot by a sniper. Because we do pick up information, and when you're talking about the kind of Russian Spetsnaz guys, they're tuned into particular kinds of information. Their intuition evolves in a certain way to pick up information. It doesn't mean their intuition is always right, but Vlad's point was your intuition may be wrong, but it's often worth listening to. Okay? And that's true in life. Your intuitions are often worth listening to, but what is a functional trance to build from that intuition and build around that intuition? Is it a highly reactive one? Sometimes yes. Sometimes running is a good thing to do, You may get an odd feeling about somebody in the street, think they're a dangerous person. It might be sensible to just keep a little caution there, move away, It's not going to do you any harm to do that. So, this is an important thing. I think that we're incredibly good as human beings at picking up our non-verbal signals The question is, what kind of trance do you make out of them? Is it a trance that serves you, or is it a trance that undermines you? And that's how those two things come together. Okay, take care of yourselves, and you can look forward to some more videos, because I suspect now that I'm back in the UK, I'm going to be hitting the video trail a little bit harder again. So take care of yourselves.